Today, as you're seeing today, we're starting to do some of our track work. What I'm doing now is I'm just taking my time and I'm trimming the plastic all off the ties so that I can put my connectors for each one of my tracks. I slip them in and make sure that all my joints are nice and tight. What I do is I use a small pair of pliers and I push my track in one direction. I always start from one end and work my way, so I'm always pushing my track in one direction. This way you'll never have to worry about any of your joints pulling apart or separating. Always work yourself in one direction so that you can push your track in. With flex track, you notice that you have the track that flips out and in. You have sections like that. So on an inside, you always make sure that the flex track, the long piece is on the inside so you can trim it off. When you go on the outside, you always put it on the outside so that you have the solid track that makes you tight. That's a solid track would be the solid one on the flex track. It's on the outside, and that gives you the room so that you can push your other piece of flex track up into the connector. And what I usually do is I tack it in place as a starter tack, and I'll use my track nails. And everybody seems to say that you don't have to tack it every single connection, but I've found that due to expansion, if you tack it every 4 inches, that it will stay. It may expand and contract a little bit, but you won't get the buckling in your track that you do in the summertime when you have the air conditioning and heating on. It actually keeps the track more steady in place. So if you're consistent with your nailing of your track, that will keep your track pretty much in place. And once you get your track base laid in there, you won't get lifting and separation. And we're going to stop here for a second, and I'll take you on a little bit further as I get a little further on. But basically what I'm doing is I'm trimming off. I take my time and I trim off the little plastic nubs that hold the track in place on the end. Always just trim back one. Just trim back one on the inside. A lot of times people have a hard time, so I found that if I put it straight down and slide my knife through, it takes it right off, and that's all you have to do. And take it nice and easy. And sometimes you make a mistake, but that can always be a siding track. And it just takes a little patience and a little time as you go. And this way, I usually do 1 or 2. I never try to get more than 1 or 2 ahead of myself, because you never know what you're going to run into, and that saves a whole lot of waste. Every now and then you come to a point where you see or decide you have to make a little change. Because we have a 24-inch radius and we're going to go on to another line which is going to be downtown Washington in the criteria of 1890s, okay? We want to put the switch in. We're free-laying the switch. But in order for me to do this and change the radius a little bit, I'm going to have to add cork and build it on out. I want to keep the number 6 switch still on a 24-inch radius, so I'll have to build my radius out a little bit with cork. That will still build me back in, because I'll add another strip of cork on here, and by keeping my 24-inch radius I can actually stay in the line of the cork. So when I'll build this out here tomorrow, and then I'll build this out here a little bit so my radius stays the same. And that'll keep us in conjunction, because when you're building up above it, you want to make sure everything that is below your on your main line, and anything that's going to be covered by mountains or anything like that, it works consistently. And you want to have plenty of space so you have no derailments underneath of anything. So that's why I'm building this out, and I just take a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and you build it in. Now we're going to have a train running on this for a test track, so what you want to do with your switches, you always want to keep it on your main line. So take a push pin or something like that and make sure the switch leg is pulled over so the frog is correct. This way you can check out your wiring and check everything at the same time on your main line. And you do this prior to as you're doing your bench work, and you save a lot of time and hassle after you get going. And so far we're at a point where we're just laying track and being happy with it. And just remember, Iron Horse trains and bench work and all of that can come to you, and we'll keep you posted on every day of our progress.